we go. It should be popping up soon. I think it's about 15-second delay there. Hit refresh again. Okay, it's not coming through. Scroll down. Let's make sure we're not missing something. Scroll over here. No. Yeah, we'll click on that one. I don't know why it's not coming up, but we're definitely live. There we go. Okay. All right. As soon as you start the music, I think, Bates, you ready?
Yeah.
1:30, we right on time. Go ahead and do the intro. What's your camera? Yeah. Am I ready? Did we check the camera there? You got everything? Are they out? No, I just need to be. Oh, yeah. The laptop. Well, either one. We should have did this earlier. That's what. All right. Just go ahead and either one, however you. I just want to be in the picture. Which camera is which?
That's your laptop.
Okay.
That's your laptop. So position that one good, and then when it's single, it's you.
Yeah, the base is good. Well, let me get this. Let's see.
Sorry.
I'm trying to get this one here, this camera here. Put me on this one. The laptop.
These two are connected to these two cameras. So when I do the split screen, that's when it connects to this. All right, here, I got you.
That's me. Okay, we'll go with these two then, because I can't see that side of the screen. That's why I had to scoot over here to see see that. I can't see that full screen. But the one it should be split screen with CC and EB.
That's the one that's your MacBook.
Right. Yeah. Now why is that?
Yeah.
Wait, be patient. Go back to that screen. I'm trying to ask you something.
Oh, sorry.
Right here. Why is that? That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, no, that's just a laptop.
Yeah, but we don't want that in the picture.
Yeah.
It's, and see when I do that, that's what I'm saying. We should get this first started. This camera, there's this camera that needs to come up a little bit. And we're probably not even gonna this camera we're not using in the split screen. That should be Bates. That should be Bates right there. Cause see, that's Bates.
Screen, yeah.
Right. Okay, there we go. So we're ready. Go ahead and start the show, man. We're 2 minutes late. That's all right. There's 15 minutes. We'll take a break. Right on. Welcome aboard. Another week in the world today. It's a blessing to be here. And welcome to station WBMCT, Black Middle Class Talk. where we aim to communicate and just discuss things that we generally don't get to discuss in the black community as just normal everyday people. Now you can tune in to MS Now and get the high-end black middle class talk, I guess, but this is I don't know if we'd be considered the low end of black middle class talk, but we are black middle class in our definition and in our minds, which is not a superiority thing or inferiority thing. It's just a thing. And hey, so we got a channel here. We're gonna express our views, and if anybody's out there want to express their views, feel free to contact us at bmctusa@gmail.com. So you can email us at that email address, or if you have the number, you can even call. But right now, there's no public number, but we do have a young people's number that will be, I'm sure we'll be getting some calls in on that one. Anyway, so in today's world, we, as always, our format today is every day, every Wednesday, every once a week right now. We're going to talk about domestic news, international news, and then, of course, today's subject is going to be pessimism versus optimism. Then we kind of glance at our thoughts board every now and then to see if we have all the thoughts that we make and talk about all the issues of Black America, which are really American issues. And we'll go from there. EB usually opens us up with domestic news, and he's very insightful on those things. EB, what's going on in domestic news?
Yeah, welcome aboard. One thing that we have in domestic news is known around the world is that we have attacked Iran. You know, that right there is one of those, because most of the things that we talk about with domestic and international, they use to cross hands, and this is one of those subjects. You know, maybe CC later when he talk about international news, maybe he be covering the same subject. But he's talking about Iran has been attacked by the United States, and the word that we've gotten and the understanding that we've gotten about this war is just so conflicted. You know, the Secretary of State is saying one thing, the President is saying one thing else, the Defense Secretary is saying something else. So it's almost like, who knows? And it kind of ties into our topic today, optimism
versus pessimism.
Pessimism. So it's a kind of tie into it. But that's what we got going on. And I, you know, from a personal standpoint, is that I don't agree with it, you know, and I don't agree with the reason it is, and everybody got their own views about it. And I think that we was wrong because how it is that we think that we can go attack another country and don't expect for them to do nothing back. But that's where we are right now, in the middle of a war from a president that say that he stopped wars and he wasn't going to be part of another war.
Right. And so that's kind of international news, but it's still domestic news because we all got to pay as taxpayers, and to be some lives lost as it is already. And it doesn't have to be American lives. There are 160 school
from Iran.
Girls' school, was it?
Yeah.
So
Iran
right there,
number is about 700.
Iran has lost about 700 people.
Yes.
Well, see there, and I mean that's nothing surprising. Well, I mean we've been murdering people. You can't really put that all on Trump, but Trump is just straightforward murdering people. This is hands down a man out of control, a madman. I could see the leadership making a mistake and those type things, but this is not a mistake. This is very calculated, and it's unfortunate for America. We made such great progress in the last 200 years, and then for one man to just come along and just throw it all away, or trying to. And that's another thing. We don't know how this is going to end. Right now, we're in a bad situation. I don't know who's in charge. Is it Russia in charge? Is it Netanyahu in charge? Who's in charge? Is it Elon Musk in charge? So domestically, America is in a drastic change, a chaos at minimum. But we are seeing something that we in America have never seen before. This is American history in action. Will America fall? And this is a legitimate question. Will democracy fall? Will blowing up bombs in aircraft. Last I checked, we lost 3 aircraft, fighters,
Friendly fire.
friendly, of all things, friendly fire, and kind of just, and so that's what, 92 million a pop for.
Yeah.
I mean, think about what we can do with $92 million in one city alone, and then we're just blowing it up like it ain't no thing. So that becomes an issue, and like I said, the life loss is just unfathomable. The way we just kill people without any discussion.
Right.
Just off the whim. Hey, wake up one morning and say, hey, I just want to blow something up today.
And and how it is that they're trying to sell to the American people the reason they trying to sell the reason for it is that we all know that Netanyahu, and they even showed for 40 years, has been trying to get America to take out Iran, because if they take out Iran, Israel will be the biggest dog on the block. So that's the only reason that Netanyahu wants to take out of Iran, as far as, first of all, not giving them the ability to have nuclear weapons. And you remember that Obama did the Iran deal,
Peace deal.
peace deal, and it was in good standing, from my understanding.
Right.
And they had no intention of trying to make a nuclear. But then again, when you got somebody that's always provoking you and always threatening you, you start second guessing, like, wait a minute, maybe I do need to have me a weapon that I can defend my country.
And you're speaking from the perspective of Israel? Or
No, I'm speaking of Iran. Iran, is that, I'm not, I don't support Iran. I don't support, anything Ayatollah, but I'm just saying, being realistically, how can you go into someone else's country and try to tell them how to live? And then the thing that they're doing is that we're seeing it's a replay of the Iraq War. Is that what they told you? They told all the Kurds, just go ahead and take arms, and then we're gonna take Saddam Hussein down, and then you be able to take over. And then guess what? Saddam Hussein gassed them. But then again, what the U.S. be like, just the same thing they did this last uprising they had. They killed over 7,000 people.
Right. So what you're saying with the war, you comparing the two wars, Iraq and this war here?
Well, I just use that as an example of how it is that we are with trying to get people with regime change. We don't have no success in that.
I get you.
We don't have no success in that.
And I don't know if it was all that much calculated. Regime change, from Netanyahu's standpoint, maybe, because he's, from their standpoint, Israel's standpoint, which I don't buy, that they're being threatened and this and that by the Ayatollah, which, by the way, me personally, I don't know much about the Ayatollah and that religious thing. The way I understand it, the Ayatollah is similar to the Pope in religion in their region of the world. Yeah. Now, that's where
from a Muslim side. Yes.
Okay, so you confirm
right.
that?
Yep, you're
okay.
right.
So I'm going to just say up front, I'm not that well versed in their religion.
Right.
But I know that they are a religious state. And I forget the term that they used.
Sharia. They go by Sharia law.
Okay,
yes.
That's a religious law, everything. And that's what America, the Christian right, is trying to move America to. So in other words, you're going to have to go to church every Sunday, brother. Maybe bow down to the Pope, kiss the ring. I don't know.
Right.
But that's really, that country is based on, their laws are based on the religion and then the secular. And that's why you have the women. Now, that's one thing I know about the women being oppressed. To me, I'm not down with this women inferiority argument whatsoever.
But then again, we have to go and understand, like you just stated, from the laws, from a religious standpoint, that's their law, that's how women, that's what women's place is under their law. But that's another
that's the way you
subject too,
said that. Well, we're ready to go off on to another subject.
Yeah, that's why I say,
and I don't mind. We're communicating. We got 2 minutes here.
Right.
And I guess that point right there, we've been covered, like you say. I want to talk about that point. And just for the last 2 minutes we have. In religion, and that's why I'm not a fan of politics and religion. I like our
Right.
First Amendment that Congress should not establish a religion affecting the free exercise thereof, something like that.
Right.
Okay, that's in America. You pointed out that's another country. What
Right.
they have their own laws, their own ways.
Right.
What business do we have going over there and telling them that, hey, you can't treat your women like this, that women have to be able to drive, that women can own businesses, that women can do that. You can't go into another country no more than they should be able to come into this country and tell us. And that's on the other side of the world,
That's
by
the
the way.
point.
Yeah, and if anybody have been overseas, you know how big the third
Right.
is. I have an idea of. It's not a small thing. So, but my thing, and by the way, it's similar. Women here in the United States are not that far off from being second-class citizens, if they are not already, because of the abortion debate to me. And black people, we can tell a story about being second-class citizen, 400 years and counting. So don't worry about that. We're in good standing in second class. And some people find, yeah, I'm being facetious, but you know what I mean. So I'm just saying, I don't know much about that region, but I do know in religion that women generally are second class to me, and across the board. And kind of, and I'm a Christian, and I'd say it like this: I've been baptized. I believe Jesus Christ is the Son of God. Christianity means so many things today. I just have to define it in my perspective. So, but I just wanted to drop that off to you. You go back to you on this women thing, and then for the last minute there, and you can comment there. We'll go to a break on
the woman thing. The last thing that because like you said, this right here is just domestic news, which turns into international news, which turns into a whole subject all by itself. Because we have no good track record at regime change. We have no track record. We did Saddam Hussein. We did Panama.
Yeah.
We did, and the list just goes on to this.
You making me think of South America. There was a Pinochet.
Yep. And then we're the reason why the Khomeini. We're the reason why Khomeini even got into power in the first place.
Isn't that ironic?
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. They say we put him in there.
So we're going to do the evil deed to get a refresher.
Right, exactly.
A new guy in place.
Bad call. You know what I'm saying? That's basically what we're saying.
Yeah, you have no business there.
Right, exactly.
Whatsoever. We have no business.
I'm saying that to say is that we're not anti-women. Is that we saying is that that's their country, that's their problem to deal with. Now, that's not what I'm saying. But then again, you still have to say, and you being the realistic part is that if we're here in the U.S., it's just like almost like they go and taking out their leader. Now, what if somebody was to say that they want to come out based on what Trump is doing here and they want to take him out? It's the exact same difference. You know what I'm saying? But then again, people wouldn't look at it the same because of who we are.
Okay, good, man. That's a good point. That was international news, but it ties into domestic news. We're gonna take a quick break. And we never got to international. They kind of tied together.
Yeah, that's why I was saying that they was.
So let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll talk about a little bit. We'll finish that up a little bit on to make sure we covered all domestic news, international news, and then we'll talk about our daily subject.
Right. Did you see the Chancellor of Germany with Trump yesterday?
I missed that.
Yes, and saying is that we as Germany, we understand. They say let Israel and the U.S. go in. They saying they're at the top of that leader. They okay with that, but then again, they still are not. They're not gonna send no troops over there. They're not gonna, But man, I'm telling you that Netanyahu man, he got trouble. He came over here and brought that.
But no.
Okay.
All right, now the second quarter here, we generally go to the subject, but as we had a good subject there in the beginning, we generally talk about domestic news, international news. That was a good topic. We kind of compressed the two together. And I think that was a good summary of. I think I'll let that be for now until somebody wants to give feedback on it. I don't mind talking about it a little bit more. Those two are, we're just in bad shape here in America. See it likely. Russia's in charge. Israel's in charge.
Yeah.
Elon Musk in charge.
He is in charge.
Trump's got Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
J.D. Vance is laying on the couch. But it's all good, so, everybody teaches on, I guess. And we've been steady being robbed. Yeah, domestically, we're being robbed. Tax dollars gone.
Because I'm sorry, I mean to cut you off. They saying that this war is going to cost over $200 billion. We can clear out homelessness with that same
Exactly.
money.
Hey, yeah. I'm waiting on reparations. No, that subject ain't gone. In fact, this is the time. This is what I'm disappointed. And I know we talking about. Let's just go into pessimism versus optimism.
Right.
Pessimism versus optimism. That's today's subject. And as far as being a pessimist or an optimist, you can put that. Get our producer to put that definition on the screen. An optimist expecting positive outcomes, viewing challenges as temporary risk-taking approach. And then you have pessimists anticipating negative views, problems, and so forth. I can't get on the screen there. But being a pessimist is somewhat being negative, we would say. And the optimist is somewhat being positive, would we say? Would we agree with that?
That's the definition. What you just said.
Right.
Positive,
I wanted to break it down
right.
because I was looking at the screen. I couldn't get the full definition verbal, but I know what it is. And plus, people don't like being read to anyway. But I consider myself an optimist for the most part. And that's why, in speaking of reparation, as far as black people are concerned, I know we don't talk about it that much on the big screen, so to speak, but it's a thing. And I feel optimistic in light of what you just said. We blow up 200 billion in a minute,
right?
And you can just take one of those billions and and you could cover all African Americans with some type of compensation for the situation we find ourselves in. I'm optimistic of that. I'm looking forward to that. It might not happen in my lifetime, but you have to keep pushing forward. Now, the pessimists would say, well, what are you going to get out of that? What does that mean? You want a handout? We gave you the welfare. I mean, you want some more? Which is totally ridiculous. You damage people to the fullest. We've been damaged. We've been traumatized to the fullest extent of the United States of America can provide.
But for someone to ask that question, when you just said about being an optimist, about getting reparation, but if someone asks that question, what are you looking to gain? What is it that you're looking for? You saying that person is a pessimist?
If he's saying it in a good point, if he's saying it in a negative way, that ain't going to happen. Why don't you spend your time on something else?
What I'm saying, but
I'd say that's a pessimist.
Right,
yes.
but I'm saying, but then again, that person is, say if I look at it, on the big scope of it, that person is probably being a realist. You got a whole group of people that's in the world that will say, because how long have we been talking about that?
Right.
So as an optimist, so the thing that people say about people that being optimists is that sometimes they're being led, that they're leading themselves by a dream.
Mm-hmm.
So because it is positive. Being an optimist, everything's gonna work out. But then again, when it don't, so now the person that's a pessimist, yes, is they are the one that's standing out. Because that's a good example. Reparation. I've been hearing about reparation since I was a kid, and to this date, I only know one place that I've given reparation. That was in Evanston. That's the only place. So that's why I'm saying is that by being subject is that you got to be careful about just because the person feels that this is happening, that don't make that other person, because they can say I'm just being real.
You familiar with the abolitionists?
Yes.
right? The ones that fought to abolish slavery.
Right.
Okay, do you know that some of those people died and slavery was still in existence and they worked their whole life to abolish slavery?
Right.
Okay, and in their time frame, that's what people are saying. That ain't going nowhere. Slavery, that's just the way it is. What's the problem? You know, we got free labor and so forth. This is 200 years ago.
Right.
I mean, you know.
So you saying those abolition
and
was...
by the time I came along, when I was born, the cotton fields were still there. The wagons were still going to the cotton in my lifetime.
Right.
I saw the cotton field. I mean, people going chopping cotton. I was a baby.
Right.
And by the time I turned, 8 or 9, 10 years old, that pretty much had faded out. But what I'm saying about the pessimist versus the optimist, going back before, let's say, the Civil War or the Dred Scott decision, where it says, no black man has no rights, that the white man is duly responsible to acknowledge, so to speak. In other words, he's property. Now, a pessimist would say, just like I told you, they just property. What are you talking about, that we can't have slavery? So that's what I'm saying. A pessimist would do that. He would kill your dreams, put a wet towel over your dreams of hopes. An optimist say, oh, no, we got to keep straight. We got to keep pushing, which they did. They kept pushing for, even after the Dred Scott case, which Supreme Court ruled that a black man was property. Dred Scott had to go he was in Wisconsin. After that ruling, had to go across to Canada because pessimists said that this can't happen. And the Supreme Court said, yeah, this can't happen. But here we are 200 years later. I ain't seen thankfully, in my lifetime, I never chopped cotton. But it was close. You know what I mean? So in other words, over 100 years later, so that was probably 1865. By 1965, when I was born, due to the optimism, we get the Civil Rights Bill, where black people have the rights to vote now. So in other words, after that Dred Scott case, it took approximately a little bit more than 100 more years for black people to essentially get the right to vote. Now, I'm just saying the optimism that it took for that to come about versus the pessimist. If you relied on the pessimist for that to come about, we would still be chopping cotton.
But the optimist, based on that time, is that, for me, is that word optimism is so close to what I grew up to know is your faith. Is that because you haven't, you being an optimist about, this is going to happen. But then again, look how it's parsed out. So you're saying is that we're not slaves.
I was using that example.
No. I'm saying we're not slaves now. But then again, if you look at a lot of the situation of things that's associated with black people, you almost have to question that.
I knew you was going to.
No, I'm just
That's
asking.
why I kind of
right.
Because I was thinking when you said that question, I kind of did. Well, that could be controversial. But,
right, exactly.
But technically, no. I mean, there's no papers on you, to say that you have to return to Master Bates.
The papers is when you get incarcerated.
Exactly. I love that, brother. I ain't no dispute that. Okay. Like I say, when we're communicating, exactly. That's what I like.
Right.
Because that was another form, like you say, in our history, American history, Black American history, when they did the 13th Amendment,
right,
to free the slaves, they put that little bitty sentence in there, except it be for servitude,
right,
like incarceration.
Right.
You'll be free.
But
and what did they do? What did they start doing? Arresting people for spitting
lottery,
on the sidewalk, dropping a little
just sitting up
paper. You sitting on the wrong side of the street.
You sitting there waiting to go to work.
Jail.
You waiting to go to work.
Right. So now you're back in slavery.
Right.
And so that continues to this day. And that's why I say the war on drugs was nothing less than to put people back in servitude. Started with Nixon. We talked about this before.
Right.
But Reagan came along and said, look what I found. And you can see the spike on the graph where black people incarceration, just in general incarceration went up, but it was definitely specifically for black people. War on drugs was nothing less than the war on black people. Now what are we doing with the cannabis? We're trying to clean up people's records. What they call that when you go down to get your record, expunge your record,
Right.
and so that's where we're at. Yeah, and so but the damage has been done. But that's the long history of America and where we are today.
But I'm saying, so is it your view that African American as a people should be optimists?
Right, and I like what you said.
You saying
earlier.
that they should be?
Yes, and I want to come back to what you said about faith, because faith is, in definition, I'm sure they are tied together. Optimists, because faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen.
Right.
You know, the substance of things hoped for. You
Right.
hope for it,
Right.
but you can't. You know, if you see it, then you ain't got to have faith. You know, it's right
Right.
there. You're holding
Right.
it. But if you don't have it, you got to have faith, which I like. I'm gonna use the word optimism. You got to be optimistic. But if you want to talk religion, I say, well, you got to have faith. Faith
Right.
is something you hope for, evidence of things. So what I'm saying, going back to slavery in the 1800s, the Dred Scott case, even after all that, people were optimistic.
Right.
They had hope, which is in the religion. They had faith, and no matter what the devil was out there saying, hey, just go in there and chop that cotton, get that $10, you know, and whatever the master throws, them chitlins, eat them chitlins and be happy. Yeah, you know, them pig feet, they all good. Y'all, what you complain about in the chicken wings, you know, y'all know y'all like some good chicken wings. Y'all happy, you know, be happy black folks. Be going out there and dance for us.
Right.
But the optimist said, no, I don't think I want to go that route. I'm going to be a pessimist on that with that idea because that doesn't advance my people. I'm going to be an optimist. I'm going to rely on hope. I'm going to hope for a better day.
Right. But so, and you're talking about from the African American folks, is that an optimist saying is that our time and change is going to come. Okay? Mm-hmm. We're going to go with that. So these people go out there and go and they walk, they march, and they protest. And matter of fact, it's almost kind of the same example of the thing that's going in Iran, is that those people are optimists to say that one day that we will be able to be like every other country. We'll be able to have our own freedoms and all that.
That's right.
That's optimism. But then again, so the pessimists will sit back and say, man, I don't think you should do that. And then they go out there and then all these people get slaughtered. Mm-hmm. So now where's the pessimist?
I told you so.
Right, exactly.
I'm
but what I'm
sitting there
saying,
watching Jimmy Kimmel. I told you so. I told you so. What y'all doing out there?
But what I'm saying, but the point that I'm making is that you have to look at sometime that a person that's a pessimist is not always negative.
Well,
but I know the definition. The definition says it is that it's negative, it's unstable.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I get what you're saying. You're saying a pessimist is not always a negative thing.
No.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? They just like I was saying, just keeping it real.
Right. And we're right here at the break, and we'll come back, and we're gonna put up the thoughts board and see. I like that because that was a definite distinction between your point of view and my point of view, as far as pessimist and optimist.
Right.
We just throw it on the line. So we put it out on the table. Somebody wants to call in or send us an email and give us their point of view on the positive versus the negative, the optimist versus the pessimist, and if pessimist is negative, or if he's just keeping it real, or if the optimist is overly zealous and he has great hopes for things that won't come to be. You can put your idea out there and your thought, because that's the whole point, is we're communicating. You know, I'm not, I throw my idea out there, and your thought out there. You put your idea and your thought out there, and we let it be. And we're going to let it be for this break, and we're going to come back. We're going to look real quick at the thoughts board, and then we'll go to the next subject. So.
All right.
Excellent. No, I was saying that.
Oh, I was too close.
Right in the show, but it wasn't in the background like that background. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I'm right
click on and see who it is?
Don't mess it up. Let's roll. Don't screw us up. Keep on the roll. All right. Hey, man, put that. Yeah, there we go. Hey, man, now bring that on. Well, yeah, bring it. Right on. Welcome back. Welcome back. Man, that was a good subject, brother. Pessimism versus optimism. I like that. Bring it. Got our producer here. He's going to bring up the thoughts board. I want to just kind of glance at that thoughts board that we were kind of talking about. The problem, not the problem, but the issue that we always have when we talk about controversial issues is finding truth, because that's the whole thing. We want to find truth, right? And that's why I'm just looking up this on one of the points on that board is love and truth, finding truth, and you can fade us back now because I think that's more of what when we get into these back and forth, it's more like we're trying to find the truth, right? There's such thing as truth, no matter what somebody says. I think versus an opinion, right? You know, you might think that the truth is because it passes your lips. That's gospel. That's truth. Because I said it. I've seen that in the church enough times to say, I don't know about all that, but it's important to understand in this communication for this show. That's why I like the way me and you always have good discussions where we disagree, but and in the end say, hey, that's just my opinion. You know, I'm not going to beat you over the head with it, but because that just doesn't. When you're searching for truth, when you're genuinely searching for truth, you have a different point of view when you get there, and that's not the easiest thing, especially when we're being criticized in a way. We get defensive, especially when sometimes when they don't agree with us. But that's why I say we got to always search for truth. It does exist, and love is. And that's why I put the two together, love and truth, because that kind of go together to me.
Well, the truth they say is hidden behind people ownership of what it is. Meaning is that, like you just said, your opinion, you give it, and you stand by it, and then I say something that contradicts what you're saying. Because that is your opinion and it's personal to you, is that you're going to hold on to it and you're not going to be able to hear anything that's going to change that if you're not open about it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that's what I mean, like you saying, the bottom line is find the truth, but the reason why most people can't find the truth is because the fact is that they're fighting what they know or what they believe to be the truth. And you can't have a discussion with anyone that if you're not open to what your views are to be modified or changed. You don't. That's the way I believe. That's the way I believe. That's the way I believe. And even though somebody can say something to you that you actually hear to like that makes sense, but because of that truth that you have is personal to you. And like you just said, when people say things that go against your opinion, you raise up, and they say then it's all lost. You won't get a chance to find truth because you see everybody going into their particular corners.
Right, and I wonder about that because, and that's why I had to develop this way, where I can hear somebody else's opinion and not get defensive.
Exactly.
Now that didn't happen overnight. Oh, no. I've been strong-willed, like what you were just saying, but as you get older, you should be looking to make yourself better. Right. I would say. Right. I think we can all agree with that if you just stuck in one place, you can't grow. Yeah. And when I say grow, we're getting up in age, we should be having some type of wisdom that we can impart upon the younger people. And that, like I say, that wisdom comes from truth, not just what I say, our truth, your truth. But okay, if you have truth, your truth, and like you say, if you get defensive about it, you're saying to me, or anybody out there, that you can't be challenged. that your point of view can't be challenged, you just, Donald Trump has taught you well. You're never wrong. You don't take responsibility because you're in that perfection Jesus status, right?
Right.
Don't challenge me, or I'm going to put you on my enemies list.
Right.
You're not going to grow like that. In fact, I challenge you, you're not going to have a big circle because I don't know of anybody that, besides Trumpsters, that don't have an opinion or a thought in their head. And because if you don't, then you can't grow. I don't think.
Right. But you said something, and I'll say, let me wait for you to
Go
finish.
ahead. Go ahead.
Is that you said, yeah, when you have your truth, that's where the problem starts.
Put
It's
quotes
not.
around it.
It's your truth. It ain't no your truth. It's the truth. That's what you seeking. But I'm saying, but if people say that's my truth, you know what I'm saying? If that's what the thing that you're going to hold on to, or that's the thing that you're going to challenge other people with, is that it's almost like you going to a fight and you already got your hands up. Ain't no battle been determined, or that there's no ill will or nothing I have with you. But if you go to a conversation with your truth and you're going to defend it at all costs, that, like you just said, your circle is going to be small. I agree with you.
Well, let's take this conversation to something we've been talking about doing for the longest: religion.
Right.
Because we got thousands of different religions,
Right.
and basically all of them saying, well, most of them are saying that my way is the truth. My way is the one. Where you got the Baptist saying that, you got the Church of God saying that, the Jehovah's Witness just saying that, the Pentecostal are saying that. And I want to bring up religion because that's generally where, for certain, you will get most of that type point of view, where I have the truth, not my truth, because I'm coming to you with the truth. You know, and I've had Bible studies with people, and, you know, I thought we were going to have an open-ended discussion. They come in, they plop their Bible down, and they just run all over me. And when it come time for me to rebut, oh, well, that's it for the Bible study. What day you want to come in and come back? I was like, oh, no, it don't work like that.
What's our next
because
name?
you've told me your truth. I want to tell you my
Not
truth.
true. Yeah.
And then what we should be doing is saying, okay, because we have something in writing to start with. It's just now we're getting down to interpretation. And the reason why I bring up religion in this case is because that's the one that we started the show off talking about war.
Right.
Is Iran and Israel.
Right.
I almost said it right.
Right.
But that whole region is based on religion.
Right.
You know, these wars, when you get down to it, are based on religion. By the way, the Muslims and the Christians have a connection.
Right.
By the way, I mean the Jews,
Right.
Christian too, if you want to say that. But the direct thing with the Muslims and the Jews goes back to Abraham.
Right.
Yeah, you know,
Right.
so that's in the Bible, so to speak. And by the way, the Bible's that's another story for another day.
Right.
I don't know if we can say this is fact. You know what I'm saying? I had a conversation with somebody one time that told me that nature is God. You can see nature, that's God, right? I said, no. To me, and by definition, you go look it up in the dictionary, it just says nothing about God when you look up the definition of nature. Because we got to have, when we start searching for truth, we're going to have a standard. And definitions of words is where you start. You get what I'm saying? We can't be talking about nature, and you're saying this book is nature. And I'm saying, well, the definition of nature doesn't include the Bible or God. So, but if you want to change the definition of nature in our discussion, do that. And I will go with that, but then I can't go to a school or classroom and says nature is God because that English is all messed up, or the definition.
But the argument that you would find with that is that Bible scholars would tell you that all of the earth is God. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So how can you say that nature is not? But you're saying based on the definition. But then again, if all this belongs to him, so there's nothing, the air, nothing that's in this world that is not his. If I'm just saying, you find somebody that would argue this point that I'm making, you know, and they would do it. They would go in and they'll find you a verse. But again, you know, I'm very skeptical of verses because people will find a verse that will fit their agenda.
Okay, well, let me ask you then. Is nature God? Since I think you already said
Yeah,
that.
I'm saying
Nature is God.
is that the word that I have read in my lifetime, that all of this being in the beginning. That's where that
Yeah, you
in
read
the
that.
beginning,
That's
God
right.
created.
And that's
So he created. So all of this is his.
okay. So the next question I gotta ask you is that the truth or is that your truth?
Okay, we were just talking about religion, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying by the Bible, it says God created all of this. So how can I'm trying to find out where do you find the space to say that nature, based on you, based on the definition, is that you saying that it's not God? Mm-hmm. So somebody can come and question and saying that you are an ungodly person because you don't give God credit for this all. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying somebody could do that. I'm not doing it. But somebody could come to you with that.
So the atheist who doesn't even could care less about the Bible,
okay,
thinks it's just a storybook or made up book. And by definition, he'll say, well, the English language doesn't include the Bible as far as nature is concerned, but I can accept the fact that your truth, that you do accept this definition in Genesis chapter 1, that in the beginning the earth was null and void, and and God went through the 7 days. Right. That this is proof that God exists. This book that was written, 5,000 years ago, defines God. Now the Muslim would come along and say, well, I don't know about that God, that I don't know. Or the Buddhists would come along and say, I don't know about that Bible, I don't know about that book. You know what I mean? So that comes back to, I'm just making a point, the bigger point I'm trying to make. I had to revert back to make a better point than what we were talking about earlier when we were talking about the truth versus my truth. My truth is, and when we get to religions, that, I believe in the Bible. Yes, I do. But I do understand that there's some issues in the Bible, but for me, I'm just going to keep the faith that in that day, this answer would be, you're going to get the answer on the other side. When you close your eyes and you get 10 toes up, it's either going to be a 1 or a 0. You get what I'm saying? Either it's going to be lights or it's going to be dark. And that's going to be truth. In fact, in digital, that's what, in my engineering days, digital is a 1 or a 0. Right. It ain't no in between in digital. Right. Either you're up or you're down. So that, as far as truth and that in religion, that will be answered. That when you close your eyes for the last time. Right, but on this side, you can't say that is the truth.
So if you saying it like that, and and this is a point that we make, and like you said, once we get all geared up and tell people that the phone line should be buzzing, people saying, "Oh, I got something to say. I got something to say." Is it that you saying my truth, your truth, and the truth? And see, but the only way that we can get to the truth is that you got to let go of what you believe to be to actually hear what I'm saying. And I got to be able to hear what you're saying, and then we can put it all right there in the middle.
All right. As far as religion, let me wrap that up.
Okay.
And let me make sure, because we're gonna go to break here before the last session. But as far as religion, let me say this. I'll just make this stance. I don't, although I'm a Christian, I believe in it wholeheartedly. I wouldn't go on and put that on somebody else and say it that is the truth. That's a case of my truth, quote. That's my truth. And because I'm using a book that has no scientific, even Jesus himself would say it. This is about faith and believing. Because he said it himself. So, you see me. But there'll be others that come who will not see me, who will believe. It's all, the Bible, by Jesus' own words, it's about believing in faith. And having faith, should I say. Having the belief and having faith. That's just by the Bible itself.
But you saying is that you won't put that on nobody. But then again, once again, from what I know, is that someone that's carrying the mantle of religion, of spirituality, right? They were saying, so if you won't place that on nobody else, that means that you're not a true believer.
I
right.
get that's an,
Right. So I'm
I
just,
see
I'm just,
that.
I'm
I
not,
accept that.
yeah,
I
I'm not,
accept that.
I'm not
But
a,
not that I believe what they're saying. I
Right,
can accept that position
Right,
and whatever. Well,
right,
you know, you're
right.
gonna pay your bills. I go pay my bills, and like I say, when we close our eyes, that's going to be answered.
right. You
Yeah.
know, because give you the example, and then like I said, we'll move on.
Yeah.
Optimist, pessimist, and faith, right?
I like that.
I didn't get paid this week,
Mm-hmm.
but the light bill is due. Who is the one that's gonna speak out? Is it gonna be the optimist? Oh, I'm gonna find this money from somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
or the faith that's saying that it's gonna be taken care of, or the pessimist is saying is that your life getting ready to get turned off.
Okay.
Oh, see, so in that particular scenario, which one of those people that you saying that will be you do them based on levels? Which one of those persons would be at the highest level at that point?
At that point, I'm optimist.
You still be with optimists?
Yes. Yes.
Now you heard me say that you didn't get paid,
Yes.
and now
but
you did hear
got
me
the
say that the
optimist,
bill
but
is due.
Somebody got paid.
You know
I
what?
might not get
You
paid.
know what?
Somebody, I'm an optimist. Somebody come up in here. Let's take
Oh,
a break, brother.
oh, yeah, exactly.
Did I answer your question? Did I answer your question? Somebody got paid up in here.
Oh no, he didn't. No, he didn't. Oh man, he turned that upside down right there. Oh my goodness.
Somebody gonna pay this bill, too. We all gonna be in the dark.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a good one there. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness,
That's 5 minutes, man.
that's a good one.
That's the end of the day.
I like that one. Oh my goodness.
Let's go there. It's gonna come up. We're going back to football. Yeah.
That's a good one there, Doc. So, hey, I've said that before myself. I was telling this one guy, I said,
Yeah. All right. We're down to the last 5 minutes, brother. And the entertainment, we always leave it on a high note. Well, as much as possible. But entertainment is, in general, we have a lot of negativity going.
well, they say I go with this entertainment that, you know, it's not a pretty picture. It's with the T.I. and 50 Cent is beefing with each other, and it's getting pretty cringe, you know, because, you know, 50 Cent, you know, was going back and forth with T.I., and then he started posting pictures of his wife, right?
Huh?
He started posting pictures of his wife, which is Tiny.
Oh, and T.I. is posting pictures of 50 Cent?
No, 50 Cent was posting pictures of
T.I.'s
T.I.'s wife, Tiny, talking about how ugly she is.
Oh, my goodness.
Right. So T.I. went back and did, I don't know if you know about this diss. They got these things called diss albums. In other words, if I want to talk about you, I put it on the record.
Oh, wow.
And it's
No, I
called
didn't know
dissing,
that.
yeah.
Okay.
And so they went and they actually posted a picture of the graveyard that 50 Cent's mother was buried in. I mean, it's real ugly, man. And it's such a cringe, as I'm saying, that why those two main stars in the entertainment business,
Did you say black?
yeah, black that's in the entertainment business, would go at this. You know, this is not what we need to be. This is not what we need to be saying.
I mean, yeah, that's why we do the show. That
Right.
You know, this
Right.
is something to be discussed.
Right.
And That's just kind of disturbing that, it's back in the day when you talk about somebody's mama,
Right.
you know what's going to happen.
Right.
There. You did
Right.
whatever y'all arguing about before. You didn't gave up. You said
Yeah.
your mama.
Yep.
That you know what's happening there.
Yep, exactly.
It's
Yep,
over now.
exactly.
We're ready to get it on.
Right. And they talk.
So either you're going to bag down, or we're going to be getting it on.
Right.
And most of the time, you're getting it on.
Two of his sons that's in the rap game, they both put out this. T.I. put out one, and both his sons put out one. Matter of fact, one, I just listen to the music, not really listen to the word. They talking about sending you to join your mother. You know what I'm saying? That's just that right there. I've been saying is that 50 Cent has been known to go to different places in the world and go to communities and lift them up. Spend money. Matter of fact, he's doing it.
Yeah.
He's building a studio in Shreveport.
Oh, okay.
that they put it, and so it saddens me to see, our people, and it goes back to what you saying before about how the digression of it is that from the time of doing the march and then all of this and reparation, all that, and now look where we are, and then look what we're doing with what we have accomplished.
This kind of goes into you said black people and next I'll tell you what, because we're down to 2 minutes, but next week's topic is going to be tribalism. That's on the board because we are African Americans, and I use the word African American. You can say black if you want to, and that's fine. But I'm thinking in America, I've come to this understand African American because we are really different tribes thrown together.
Right.
Now, whatever that tribe is, we will never know. You can do a DNA test, but okay, you got all this mixed into you, and ain't like you can fly back to Africa and say, "Hey, family, hey, cuz,
Right.
I'm 400 years later, I'm here. I want, hey, that ain't gonna happen."
Right.
This culture, black culture in America, was created here. We are just different tribe, so we just take the designation of black, African American, and I say all that to say, different tribes don't get along.
That's true.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
right there
goes
in them
back to the
same
Bible.
areas.
You
Yeah.
like going back to the Bible.
Yeah.
That's 12 tribes of Israel
Right.
came out of Israel. Hey, they were separated.
Right.
Judah was the one that lasted the longest. But I'm just saying that the next subject we'll start out next week with tribalism, because I think this goes into tribalism, and especially with the rap game and how we have progressed to come up to where we are, and we're at this point where it's a common thing for black people to stab each other in the back or to fight amongst each other. And we always get this term placed upon us, black on black, black on black. Well, what about white on white? What about Hispanic on Hispanic? We always have to carry the boogeyman label. But that's a subject worth talking about because it deals with just the basic humanity of love. You get what I'm saying? And that's what we talk about, love and truth. So you had anything else, brother?
No, I
Yeah,
appreciate
so
that. It's a good conversation today. The interaction, and that's the thing that we speak about as far as like this station that we got, we trying to get going here, and we looking forward when that time comes when we able to interact with the people out there, as far as calling in or texting or whatever, and we look forward to the opportunity to have, like Calvin say, a conversation.
All right, brother. Well, as always, we love the conversation, and as always, as the ancestors would tell you, always, always do the right thing.
Traveling, I'm about to do my research now. Yeah, that's a good point. I never thought about that. Is that we are, what I'm saying? Because you wonder why these different groups of people, that's just be totally different. Like you say, you got these black African Americans over here, they're carrying themselves this way, and these over here, say you got some that's runching, like you got some over here putting the property. They look at them like, why are they acting that way? Like they say, and then they say that, when you say that to them, they say, oh, you acting white. You acting white because you challenge